Well, hi guys. So today we are joined by Lyndal from Craveable Brands. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So first off, can you tell us all, who are Craveable Brands?
So Craveable Brands is a private equity firm. We actually have some amazing brands that sit in underneath us that you'd be much more familiar with. Red Rooster, Aporto, and Chicken Treat. Delicious food every week.
Yes, of course I know who they are. Yum. Yes, please. So that'd be the best place ever to work then.
It's very challenging because we get to test the food, which is awesome.
So I know that you have some saucy tips for preparing for your first job and interview. Can we start with, how do you know that you're ready for your first job?
So you want to know that you have the right motivation. So you want to know that you are ready to work. Now, there are a couple of elements to consider. So we work mainly in 4-hour shifts as a minimum. So you need to know that you can commit to a 4-hour shift. We also write our rosters 2 weeks in advance. So you need to be able to commit 2 weeks out from the date that you're actually going to be working, and commit to being able to tell your manager that you are not able to attend a shift at least a day prior. It takes quite a lot of work to change shifts around. So giving them that respect is really important. The other thing that I would think about is, what are your motivations? And being motivated by money is actually pretty okay. Like I remember my first job, I wanted to buy a new car and go traveling. So I actually spent a lot of time saving up money to fulfill those goals. So absolutely know your motivation. Maybe it's also to make new friends outside of high school. Just have it written down and know that you can work towards those goals. This is one of the best kind of roles you can do. I know when I was in high school, it was really awesome for me working in restaurants. So a lot of the times the shifts that we're looking to fill are actually on weekends and evenings. That's when we're our busiest. So that's when we want you to be working. It normally fits in really well with your studies and with all of your social activities outside of school and work. I'd also recommend making sure that you know which shifts you want to work for so that you can tell your manager. When you're getting organised for work, you need to get your tax file declaration or your tax file number ready for your tax file declaration. So you can jump onto the ATO website and get that right now. It's really important, as all employers need a TFN. The other thing that you need to think about is your bank account. So where are you going to get paid your money? So you need to have a bank account to be able to get paid. Something else to consider is also a superannuation fund you want super to be paid to. So superannuation, I know it's really early in your career, but it's a really important thing that's going to make a big difference in your life. So speak to your guardian, speak to your parents, directly to a superannuation fund to understand more. The other thing is that you will also need to get ready for the interview, so getting your clothes ready. We'll talk a bit about that. So have a look at careers websites of retailers or QSRs that you're interested in working for. Have a look at their careers site for jobs in your location. When you're applying, make sure you bring your whole self to the application process. We want to see all of you because we're excited to engage with you. Now, when you're applying, a couple of hot tips is, do not lie. So being as genuine and honest as possible is really important. When you're doing your application, remember, we're looking for your capability and what you bring to the role. So if there's a video interview component, make sure that you're actually bringing as much of that energy and vivaciousness that you can, and practice before you record. Especially if it's your first job, we don't even ask you about your work history because we know you don't have one. Nice and easy. When you're preparing for a video interview, obviously check the questions, practice in front of a mirror. I ask everybody I prepare for interviews to practice, whether it's with a friend or with your family or just in front of a mirror, is plenty. You just need to be practicing. We ask questions about what would you take with you to an island, what makes you want to become a chicken hero. We don't necessarily need to know all about you from our perspective. What we're looking for is you to bring your personality. I get that you have nerves. We all get that you have nerves. We remember what it was like to apply for our first job. So all you have to do is smile, make your bed if you're doing it in your bedroom, have the environment around you looking as neat as possible, and look at the camera and bring as much of that joy that you can to the video interview as you possibly can. Preparation is absolutely the key. You've already got halfway there, so now it's time to close the deal. So dress the part. So wear a pair of black pants, wear some closed-toe shoes, wear a t-shirt or a polo. Do not wear anything offensive. Make sure it doesn't have any swear words or political statements or anything that could offend someone. Plainer the better. Make sure you remove as much jewelry as you possibly can. We work in a very safety conscious environment, and in our restaurants we do not wear jewelry for safety reasons. So if you can emulate what the people are doing in the restaurant or the retailer, you definitely want to do as much of that as possible. The other thing is that I definitely say you need to practice. So practice your interview questions, and there is a way that you can ace interviews every single time, and it's called the STAR principle. So what you want to do is answer in a few different ways, different examples. So you have 2 or 3 that you practice. The situation, the task at hand, the action you took, and a positive result. So result's the last one. So if we're thinking about situation, you're going to say, when I was at school, when I was in my team, my soccer team or whatever it is, when I was working at a different restaurant down the road, whatever the situation is. So describe the situation. Then you're going to talk about the task at hand. So the task might be something like, I was serving a customer, I was helping the team captain organise the roster, I was supporting my manager with something and packing away stock. You're going to talk about the action you took. So when I was serving the customer, I had to go out the back and get extra chips because we'd run out of chips, or whatever the action is that you took, and make sure it has a positive result. So when I came back, we were able to fulfill all the orders very quickly, and it was a great end result. So a STAR answer: situation, task, action, and result. You will ace every interview doing that. You only need to have 2 or 3, and don't practice to the point that it's overly rehearsed. You want to feel genuine about what you're talking about. So practice a few times that you feel comfortable with the content, but not to the point that it's rigid. When you turn up to an interview, you need to breathe. So do some breathing exercises. Ground yourself before you walk in. Make sure you arrive 5 minutes early. 5 minutes is perfect. 25 minutes is too much. And if you are running late, which is totally fine, lots of things happen, make sure you text or call the person that you're meant to be meeting with. The running late isn't the problem, it's the not communicating that's the problem. So make sure you give them a good experience. Now, I wanted to talk about drinking when you're in interview. It is perfectly natural to need a drink during an interview. And the reason is that there's a part of your brain, the fight or fright or flight limbic system, actually makes your mouth dry. And it's a really important system to keep you safe. But when you're trying to talk, having a dry mouth is really challenging. So bring a bottle of water with you, or accept a drink when someone offers you a drink. It's definitely important to wet the whistle as you're talking. The other thing to do is also make sure you thank the interviewer for their time. They're very grateful that you've turned up to the interview, but you should also be grateful to them for their time as well. And if you want to, absolutely follow up post the interview. So follow up maybe a week after you've had an interview if you haven't heard back from them. You need to decide if you're ready. You need to dress the part when you're coming in for an application or an interview. You want to bring your whole self when you're coming in for interviews and applying for a job. Don't lie on your application, and make sure that you're being as genuine and honest as possible. You also want to practice your STAR responses: situation, task, action, and result. And also make sure you turn up to the interview 5 minutes early and have a drink in hand. We're so excited to have you coming in for interviews. I want you to get excited when you're applying for the job. So right now we have thousands of opportunities across Australia in our amazing brands, Red Rooster, Aporto and Chicken Treat right now. Go to our website and have a look at what jobs are available in your area.